Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Ryan Joseph Copiar here, licensed professional counselor. I have with me my co-author,
Ashika, registered nutritionist and women's health coach.
and we wanted to make this video to introduce you to the authors behind the neurobiological journey of GLP-1 weight loss. So, Ashika, why don't you tell the viewers and the readers out there a little bit about yourself and what got you so excited and passionate about writing this book?
Well, it's what I see that is missing in the industry. When I work with women, specifically when it comes to weight loss, there's a lot of emphasis on losing the weight, losing the pounds, focusing on the exterior. And what I noticed when I was a personal trainer is that there was so much attention on the weight loss itself that we were forgetting the human being behind the weight. And what excited me to co-author this book with Brian was that we finally get to talk to the world about the missing link, that emotion, that human behind what the medical industry is talking about. That's what makes me so passionate.
I love that. I love that. And I think you bring up a great point, which is a lot of the books, a lot of the information out there, which is important, no doubt about it, right? I mean, we're not doctors. We're not trying to pretend to be giving medical advice, is that it is almost so clinical that it's like, okay, well, it's patient number one, right? And what is this disease and this disease and this, and what is this metric and this metric? And again, all very important, like what we speak about in the book, but it's missing the human being behind those numbers, right? It's missing the human being behind the person who has that presenting problem or symptom or disease, if you will, And so I love that you say that. We wrote the book because we wanted to speak to you as a human being, you as a soul, not you as, John with type 2 diabetes, or Tammy who's struggling and has been labeled obese, or, whatever the case may be. We wanted to write and speak to you, the reader, the human being. And as a counselor, and as somebody who's worked in the fitness industry going over a decade, I came to realize that, I was helping people from here down, but I wasn't helping people from here up, right? And so I could help, and I'm sure it was the same for you as a personal trainer. We could help people to make incredible progress with changing their physical body. Some of those people would maintain it. Some of those people wouldn't. And I started to begin to ask myself, why is it? Why aren't they maintaining that weight loss? This was long before GLP-1 medications became as prominent as they are today. And so I'm thinking, why? Well, I started to realize it probably has something to do with this thing right here, the mind. And what I really came to understand is that there's self-image, right? And identity. And so it's not just about the weight that I lost. It's not just about how I see myself in the mirror. It's about, what does the internal mirror say about me? What am I saying about myself in my mind? What am I saying about myself, about who I see myself to be? Who I am is worthy, right? Which I know is something that you work with women so much, related to self-worth, right? And then this identity, what does it carry? If I'm a person who doesn't, feel worthy, I'm probably not going to treat myself in a very loving way. And so we saw all of this as really missing from the conversation around the GLP-1 journey, the weight loss journey, the transformational journey. And it's amazing. That's great. We're so happy for all of the people out there that are loving their new body. We also want to help you to understand that there's a central nervous system that needs to mirror this new body and feel safe in this new body. There's a metabolic understanding of emotional hunger, versus physiological hunger. And then there's that self-identity piece that really needs to match up there. And so that's what got me so passionate about wanting to write the neurobiological journey of GLP-1 weight loss. And why don't you tell the listeners and the readers out there a little bit about what it means for men or women, but for women especially, to feel safe in their body?
So, for a woman to feel safe in her body, it allows her to show up in every part of her life fully, authentically, and know that she is worthy of being there. Safety means that any symptoms that you have in your body, you're able to recognize. It's not numb. Safety means that you can look at yourself and connect with yourself and understand that who you are is enough. That's what safety means. Safety also means that you're not looking for outside validation. And sometimes it could be quick fixes, a magic pill for weight loss. It could be even a relationship that you're looking for validation in. Safety allows you to show up for yourself and to understand what belongs in your life and what doesn't. What energy belongs in your life and what doesn't. How you treat yourself, how you take care of yourself, how you nourish yourself, how you speak about yourself, how you speak to yourself as well. So, Ryan, to answer your question, that's what safety means for a woman.
Yeah. And I think that, that was so powerful what you just shared, Ashika. And I think relative to safety, we're speaking about something else here. This is not spoken about in many of the literature out there about GLP-1 medication. We're speaking about the nervous system. Well, we're speaking about it in a very clinical way. It's being spoken about in a very clinical way, right?
Correct.
A very medical way. And what Ashika does such a beautiful job of in the book, and just if you ever have the privilege of working with her one-on-one, and what we really kind of synergize in the book is nervous system, safety, mental health, and your relationship with food. That's what this book really, I think, synergizes in such a beautiful way that is a big missing piece of what is not out there. So relative to, a woman or a man, but a woman feeling safe in her body, this is what's going to calm that central nervous system down, right? Now, that can be an uncomfortable and a scary process for the first time because we're like, whoa, so I just got broken up with and I'm really not feeling good about myself. And maybe I want to go to food as my coping mechanism, or, oh my gosh, I'm a single mom, I'm overwhelmed. And, I'm going to go and I'm going to have that piece of cake, right? Because that's what's going to help me to self-soothe, or I'm going to hit the McDonald's drive-through because, I don't even know why I'm doing it, but I'm doing it, right? And then afterwards, I'm not going to feel good. That's really all based around the central nervous system, right? As you are dysregulated, you're looking for what turn out to be unhealthy coping skills, unhealthy ways of being able to bring yourself into regulation. Now, the GLP-1 medication is not going to do that, right? The GLP-1 medication has many great things, and your doctor is going to tell you all about it, and we're not here to tell you what you should or shouldn't do. What we're saying is that central nervous system is going to be yours on the medication or off the medication. And so if we can help you to recognize how to feel safe in your body, how to regulate your central nervous system, maybe you won't want to go hit the McDonald's drive-through. Maybe you won't want to have that piece of chocolate cake late at night at the end of a crazy long day because you found other healthy ways to regulate your nervous system. Now, I think it's important to say, and I'd like you to speak to this as well, please, if you would, that we come to this book with compassion, with grace, and with understanding. So while we go deep in the book, and there's no doubt about that, right? We go deep, and we encourage and invite you to go deep with us. We do so from a place of compassion because we want to inspire you to give compassion to yourself as you're going through this journey. So maybe you can speak to your work with women in particular as it relates to being very harsh and very critical of themselves, and what piece of advice you would share with women on how they can be more compassionate, during their GLP-1 weight loss journey, or really just any transformation they're going through in their life.
Yeah. The first thing I would share is, because for a lot of women, there's a lot of shame and guilt around transformation, shifting of identity. There's also a sadness. There's a deep grieving moment as well, where we have to really face, when I say face the music or face yourself, where yes, it is time to let go, and it's okay to let go, and to also tell yourself that how I'm changing, the things I want from my life now, I'm worthy of having. And it's okay that I didn't know before, and it's okay that I didn't know better. So as you go through this journey with us, with Ryan, with myself, and the book, I want the men and women, but also the women, to understand that you don't have to feel guilty. I want you to come with an open heart and an open mind. And I want you to understand that when we speak about the regulation of the nervous system, and when Ryan goes into the identity shift, and when we talk about the nutrition aspect of it, to understand that what we're doing is we're empowering you. We're empowering you, and we want you to live your healthiest, happiest, and joyful life. And sometimes that's going to be difficult. And you're gonna have uncomfortable moments. And within those uncomfortable moments, you've got us, you've got the program, you've got the book, you will have a community, right? And that you don't have to do this alone. And I'd love for you to speak on this for men. And I can say, for a lot of women, this is not the time where you need to be strong, okay? This is the time where you need to be powerful. Because when you're powerful, you have a community. When you're strong, you're on your own. This has nothing to do with proving who you are. This is everything about becoming who you want to be. That's what I want to say to women. What would you say to men?
Oh, that is so beautiful. Yeah. Well, I think, men or women, right? That sense of community, right? And that you don't have to do this alone. And I think as we were doing research for writing and the publication of the book, what we realized is there's a lot of people out there struggling with fears around, right? Hey, am I going to be able to maintain this weight that I lost? What happens when the food noise comes back? Am I going to be able to, keep it going now that I don't have the help of the medication? These are things that I think a lot of people are struggling with, and they're not sharing with other people or speaking about with other people. And so we really wanted to be pioneers, if you will, to bring a real sense of community around not just this is the pounds that I'm losing, this is the hypokinetic disease like type 2 diabetes that I no longer identify with or am diagnosed with, which is beautiful. That's amazing, right? But to create a sense of community around, hey, I lost weight. Maybe I lost 30 pounds or 40 pounds, but I'm not feeling that about myself inside or when I'm looking in the mirror. Where is that conversation happening? It's not really happening. And so we wanted to create this community and create an environment where we could speak about the mental and emotional side of things, right? To offer you a sense of community, really, right? Where, if you're struggling with that self-image, hey, you're going to be meeting with other people that have that same struggle or worry or fear. Maybe there's certain aspects of your journey relative to emotional hunger that you're still struggling with, even on the medication, perhaps, right? And so this is a community environment. As human beings, we're social creatures. We are designed to be in community with one another. And even in some of the other books that I've published, I put my own pain out there because I wanted to help other people. And I know it's been the same for you in your most recent book that you published, right? Is, hey, when we can put it out there and be vulnerable with other people, then we can really create connection. And if we've really got that sense of community and connection, now we're not feeling it alone, to your point about being powerful, right? Now we've got the help of other people around us. We feel more confident. And then we're not fearing the hunger cues coming back. We're not fearing the food noise because we've learned to reset our central nervous system. We've learned to figure out how to not let food have that control over our dopamine through learning neurological and psychological ways to be able to disconnect that, okay, and to override that programming to say, no, my mind works for me. I don't work for my mind, especially as it relates to food and dopamine. And so as it relates to the men, I think it's just really having that sense of community, which is so important. So is there anything else that you wanted to wrap up and share relative to the neurobiological journey of GLP-1 weight loss?
I think the last thing I want to say is when we were writing this book, what came to mind was, we're looking at the human being in this book. We're looking at the mind, body, and soul connection. And of course, when you have that weight loss, when you lose that 10 pounds, you lose that 20, 30 pounds, it is a celebration.
Yes.
We're excited, whether it takes medical intervention or you did it solely on your own. It's still a celebration. And what we want to say here is that we're not disregarding that, but we're giving you something that is going to help you to continue to be in that celebration, but also to have a powerful nervous system and a regulated body that is deserving of that as well, and help you understand that you are deserving of it. So that's what I'm gonna.
Yeah, beautiful. I would just end with this. In life, that internal compass that's guiding us is our self-image. We are never going to stray too far from the image that we hold of ourself inside.
Yes.
It's subconscious. We don't even realize it. It can really cause us quite a bit of pain and discomfort when we try and pull too far away from it. And it's the rudder guiding the ship of our life that we have most people have very little awareness of how the rudder is guiding the ship, is guiding their life. That is self-image. And that is perhaps one of the biggest pieces that's missing from this GLP-1 medical phenomenon of what's going on right now. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of bodies change. Awesome. Love it. We want to help you to create the mirror inside so that self-image matches it. There's been a lot of studies out there about the GLP-1 weight loss when people come off the medication, how much of the weight is regained. And I'm not going to get into the medical studies and bore you with all of that, okay? It's significant. You made such an investment of time, effort, energy, money, right? A lot of money being invested in yourself relative to these GLP-1 medications. Let that self-image match everything it is that you put in so that you can maintain it, so that there is alignment between this healthy, slender, sexier, more confident version of yourself, both internally and externally. Because if there's a disconnect there, what's going to win is the internal self-image. And so we care about you. We want to support you as a human being, not as a patient, not as a client. I don't like that word client. We want to help you as a human being. And we want to go where maybe other people aren't willing to go. Maybe you're even afraid to go there yourself. I know that was part of my healing journey at one point where I had to really get into that. But with brutal love and honesty, I have to tell you that self-image needs to match up. And if it doesn't, it's highly likely that you're going to revert back. So if you're on your GLP-1 medical journey right now, your weight loss journey right now, what a beautiful opportunity it is to begin to work on that self-image, to begin to work on how to regulate your central nervous system, understand the relationship between dopamine and food, understand the relationship between trauma and food, so that you can do the very best you can while you're on the journey, and that when you come off the journey, that internal version of you matches the external version of you. And now we've got lasting, sustainable change.
Yes.